What?
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Career Gossip Podcast, episode number 21. Tonight as we are recording this, it's time for the main event, which is Helen Staniland interviewing Helen Joyce.
I would love to. Speaking of main event, I would love to see them meet each other in WrestleMania. Just pummel the shit out of each other.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. As always, we will
Helen
be.
Joyce through a table.
Yeah, that's if she can do it. We will be pausing, obviously, for copyright reasons. So because YouTube is totally fucked. So we have to do that. Otherwise, we're gonna get copyright claimed, and I don't want to have to deal with that bullshit, to be honest. But yeah, so thankfully, this is only like one video, so we don't have to do a two-parter like we did with Glenna. But
nobody brings out the mean girl in me like Glenna.
No, but well, the funny thing is, he's at it again. He's falsely accused someone of being a groomer.
Oh,
all
right.
because
he knows that's illegal, right?
Yeah, all because this person wears eyeliner. No, sorry, eyeshadow.
I actually don't have any on today, so I can't show that. But yeah. Then again, he would actually call me a groomer, wouldn't he? The fucker.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with them?
What's
wrong with you?
An Australian judge has deemed Helen Joyce unqualified.
Because she's not an expert. You basically, that judge said, you are nothing. You have no worth to us, which is just wonderful. Because I say that all the time, but like it hurts more when it's a fucking judge, I think.
Yeah, and she's not allowed to turn up for the hearing. So she's barred.
Like you're not just allowed to like show up at a fucking unless it's an open trial, which I don't think there's. I don't know what laws they have in Australia, by the way, so I could be wrong. I'm going to like dim the lights a bit because it's fucking. Yeah. There we go. Now I look like a bit less awful. Like I genuinely fucking crashed and burned with this makeup, and I was like fucking shouting at myself in the mirror. Other than that, it's been a good day. No, I also got this pen today. It's a fountain pen. It's great. It's beautiful. I got it, and 5 minutes later, I had broken it, so I had to fucking rebuild it. Like the fact that I also got this beautiful motherfucker today, my 8mm camera. I barely dare to touch this by now because I fucked up so many things today. This is beautiful, by the way. I love the fact that I bought it.
Yeah.
I'm doing some analog shit.
Yeah. So I saw your tweet about it. Yeah. Those cameras are like they're becoming a rarity now. Like you really have to look hard for them.
Yeah, and this is a used one which I got like for $15, honestly, because it was like an auction, and I was so lucky that no one else was bidding on it. That and my fucking beautiful VHS camera right there. I'm doing something. I have a plan. I'm not just buying a bunch of
Yeah,
analog shit. Like I have a plan, and one of them is that I'm getting tired of doing the filters. Like because every video I post always has the VHS like aspect ratio and stuff like that. That's why they're all in 4:3, by the way, which like all of my videos are
yeah,
like when I
yeah.
post something because yeah. Even when I posted like even when I did the porn thing, like was that yesterday?
I think so.
Yeah, fuck
I
me.
think it was.
Well, I guess I did. Sorry.
No, that's right.
Yeah, but like even when I did that, I changed the aspect ratio and I shot that on my fucking computer. So I don't know. It's I have a VHS thing and like an analog video thing. It's more tactile. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. I
and I'm gonna
mean,
keep like doing the videos that I've been doing, like the weirdly edited bullshit. So I still don't have a name for it. Weirdly edited bullshit. Scrapbooking sanity. I don't know. I suck at titles.
yeah,
Anyway, I'm sorry for rambling.
yeah.
I just need.
No, that's right.
Mm.
No, it's like I think it's we all have that. I mean, I think at this point, pretty much at this point, I think everyone's used to us
Yeah,
going on a rant or ramble at this point. So,
yeah,
um,
it's an important
but
part.
yeah, I mean,
Without further ado,
yeah, we'll just get straight to it.
uh,
You know, let's hear what they've got to say. Now, this is let me see. This was from a year ago, so let's see. Obviously, we listened to that 15-minute interview last week.
took an hour.
So let's see if her what her views were like a year prior, which I'm probably guessing
Uh, I,
not very different.
I think shit might be the answer.
Yeah. Right. So again, as always, we're gonna pause it every 5 minutes or so, thereabouts. But right, let's kick it off.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome
Hello.
to Wine with Women. Once again, I have a sign, lest you forget where you are for the next hour, where we get to chat to some of the most amazing women who have found themselves, like many of us,
Yeah, don't forget where you are because they're
suddenly
pissed.
working to advance.
They're having too much fun.
And tonight, I've got the most wonderful guest. I'm very excited. She really doesn't need much of an introduction.
Does
She is a
she
journalist
have another guest
and
than
the author
Helen?
of Trans When Ideology Meets Reality, Helen Joyce.
Hello, other Helen.
Welcome, welcome,
Welcome
one of
yourself.
the other Helens.
One of the many Helens. It is the turf
Yes,
name.
indeed. Yes, we are that.
We are
age.
legion.
They-
Hey, I know
Legion.
some Helens
Helen's
that
of a certain
aren't-
age, I think.
don't suck.
There's some young ones. I've met the occasional young Helen.
Oh, that's nice. It's good to know that the name has actually probably just come back round into fashion.
Yeah. Okay. Moving swiftly on, Helen.
So,
Fucking Christ, they're boring.
Ricky Gervais.
I know. What a relief. What a huge relief. I think it's so important for the social contagion side of things, because this sort of, identifying out of being a boring cis white straight person, well, if people are going to laugh at it, it's not that I think that we should all be mocking people, and I couldn't do it. But if people think it's not cool and they think that it's a joke, they won't do it.
Do you know, I hadn't actually thought of it from that aspect.
Yeah,
I think it's the most important bit.
Yeah, no, I think
because there weren't any trans people like fucking 5 years ago or something.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they actually think they weren't. I completely forgot how dumb these people are. But like, that's the dumbest fucking thing. Like, oh, if it's not cool, that motherfucker, people have been getting murdered for this shit for like all of history. It's not cool. Like, if if we could choose, we would. Most of us probably wouldn't stay
Yeah,
trans. Honestly, and like there are some people who would because they learned how to like. Yeah, I would absolutely choose dysphoria.
yeah. It's like, there's that tweet from JK.
Oh
I think
yeah,
it was either from a year ago or 2 years ago. I can't fucking remember. I don't really go on the timeline to be honest. But there's a tweet where she said something about Nazis and burning books, and
yeah,
she said there was no books on trans, or there were no trans women or whatever. She said it's like, I think that was around the same time she
yeah,
started doing that. And she started doing the denialism of Nazism. It's
yeah.
like, how fucking stupid do you have
Um,
to be?
yeah. Well, her fucking well, she is the author that wrote a sort of short, raspy-voiced, hook-nosed goblin creature into her books and let them handle all the money in the world. So I don't
Yeah,
fucking know how dumb she is. She's really fucking
no.
dumb and like really fucking spiteful.
Yeah.
Um,
I watched an interview today with who was I watching? I was watching someone called Matt Bernstein, where he
yeah.
interviewed Natalie Wynn. She's known as
Oh,
ContraPoints.
yeah, yeah, I know.
She's also a trans woman, and they
Yeah.
were
I
discussing J.K. Rowling's like how she became this sort of transphobe,
yeah.
and
I
and
remember.
her style.
God damn it, she's great ContraPoint stuff. She
Yeah,
has great videos. I love every. I love the aesthetics of it. It's
yeah,
very
I do too.
aesthetic heavy.
Yeah, and it
I
was a
actually,
really
she was one of the first
um,
one on like that side of YouTube that I started following like back in the day.
yeah, it was a really good conversation.
Oh,
You know,
cool.
um, I'll actually um
I wish I could listen to more pods. Like, I just want to. I keep listening to us because I don't have the
yeah,
problem there that I have with other pods that I want to butt in all the fucking time when I'm listening to a podcast. And now
yeah,
I like think of something like, oh, but why aren't you saying that? And then I hear myself say that, and like, oh yeah, that's good.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm on the pod. I forgot. And
yeah,
usually it's just talking about myself.
yeah. And it's like, it's funny how, it's like we
Yeah.
have we have two Helens here, right? One
Yeah.
who probably, as we near the end, she's probably going to get more and more pissed.
Yeah.
Helen Joyce is probably going to ramble on and not make fucking sense. So
Isn't
this
this
right
the one
here
where she said
is a
there are
win-win.
huge problem for a for a sane society? Isn't that the one? Isn't this that fucking video where she says that? Even one trans person is like a huge problem for a sane society or something.
I'm not sure. And so,
I think it is.
I'm not sure because I don't because
Yeah, yeah.
this is the first
No,
time I've actually watched it or watching
I
it.
have never
So
watched this either, but like I
you'll find out.
recognize the from a clip I saw on Twitter
Oh,
because
okay.
Twitter is great at like providing clips.
Oh yeah. But yeah, let's.
He's made it not cool now.
Yeah, him and Bill Maher, of course. And it's very important to say that neither of them were laughing at, people. They weren't punching down. They
Yeah,
weren't
they are.
talking about an ideology. Debbie Hayton has a piece that's just come
No,
out in
they're
the
not.
Spectator, which I think Debbie got to talk to Ricky for, so I'm very jealous of that. But anyway, Ricky says that, it's not punching down, and what he's talking about is the ideology, not the people. And the thing is, the ideology is absolutely hysterical. Like, the effects aren't funny. Like, people getting sterilized and women losing their medals and all that, that's not funny. But this bit that we all have to pretend that we can look at somebody with a beard and a cock and balls and say
Losing their
this is a
medals?
woman, that's hysterical.
Yes,
I've been dying.
yes.
I think that's in
Lucy, does she mean
women
tits?
losing their medal. I'm sorry. I don't know what the fuck she means.
Does she mean
But
tits?
but again, maybe question mark. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I can think. Because if that's the case, she's fucking
Yeah.
weird.
But it's like women
she is
losing
otherwise.
medals. Right.
Oh,
Women aren't
trans women
losing
in
medals.
trans women in sports. Trans women in sports.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I
Yeah.
genuinely forgot that was a discussion. Jesus Christ! Where am I tonight?
Yeah. Women aren't losing medals. Unless, I mean, yeah, again, they bring up genitalia. She's doing a Helen Staniland. Because that's her
Yeah,
fault.
they love to bring up cock. They love to talk about cock. Like I've genuinely been in like men's locker rooms with like someone standing out in the open and like talking about their cock. That still felt like less weird than this shit because at least that was in a fucking environment where they're supposed to be naked. Like the fact that they just constantly bring up cock is so fucking weird. I have
Yeah.
one and I don't even bring it up that much.
Exactly.
I don't think I
mean,
ever talked about it actually. I don't have any problem with it.
I don't
It's
talk about
done
mine.
like
It's like, I mean,
like-
to be honest, I mean, I don't even realise it's there half the time. Because I don't think about it. Oh, look. Because it's like, oh, look, there's my dick. I'm like, oh, who cares?
yeah,
Literally, who cares?
yeah. Like I sometimes have
none
to
of
think
your-
about it because like wearing a thong isn't that like you have to kind of position it weirdly.
Yeah.
But like that's literally it. And I had that problem where when I didn't like wear fucking thongs as well.
Yeah. But, I mean, who literally gives a flying fuck?
They do, and
As
I
I
don't know why.
as I have always said, right? Unless you are not harassing anyone, abusing anyone, trying
Yeah.
to sexually assault someone, trying to them, as long as you're not doing any of those things, and I'm saying this for everyone, not just trans people, because it's because again, trans people aren't the ones doing this. But I'm just using this as a clarification.
Yeah.
As long as you're not doing all of those things, who gives a flying fuck? No one
Like,
cares.
yeah, but these are the same people who would absolutely care about me, like liking to like slap people in the face and stuff like that. They're absolutely they would absolutely have a problem with that.
Yeah, and
Like, fine, have boring sex if you want. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And this is completely different, and this is not LGBTQ plus related. But there was an IFBB bodybuilder called Michael Double. He was at an IFBB pro show in the UK.
And that stands for what, by the way? What sport is this?
International Federation of Bodybuilding.
Oh, it's bodybuilding. Yeah, thanks.
And he was trying to visit his girlfriend, who was backstage. One security guard let him through. However, for other security guards, who didn't want him, who thought he was and I'm using inverted commas, a sexual predator
Yeah.
because there were women backstage, beat the fuck out of him.
Oh, that's
And he's
fucking
got
hell.
he's now got 2 broken ribs, a broken nose, and some other injuries.
Yeah.
And all he was trying to do was visit his girlfriend, who
Yeah.
apparently won a show or something.
Oh, so he basically wanted to congratulate, and for that he
Yeah.
got like his fucking head bashed in. Great, great,
Yeah.
that's great.
And he was being accused of being a sexual predator.
That's a nice way to get to beat someone up.
Yeah. And this is
Fucking
the
hell.
type of rhetoric these people are playing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like no. For all the shit that I like, I try to not get too dark with like the shit that I. Okay, I'm absolutely getting dark, but like I try to not get too like cynical and hopeless and shit like that, and I try to like keep the humor. But aside from like that's because I joke about everything, literally. But it's important to not forget that what these people fucking want is to hurt people. And I don't care if that's their direct goal. Every single thing that they propose, it's harmful in some way, and it's harmful to a certain group of people, especially, but it's harmful to the entirety of society. These people are fucking dangerous. Like, if they were less shit, I would be more worried, but they are shit. Unfortunately, the world kind of listens to shit sometimes. And
yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's vitally important that and we appreciate you, our listeners, listening to us, listening to what we have to say or what we cover. But it's vitally important that you don't just listen to your favorite podcasts or whatever. It's important to get a variety of different opinions from other people in various sectors, whether that is reading up on stats or whatever it is that you want to research. It's vitally important that you get different perspectives because and view different news sources because we are in such a climate now where where these kinds of people can twist things and manipulate things.
yeah, and they really
And so
want to do that. Like,
yeah,
they want to twist words so badly. Unfortunately, when they do that to me, it kind of gets them nowhere. But that's also because like words are like I'm a fucking linguist.
yeah,
They never think I am because I curse. They never believe me when I say that. Like you're actually talking to like I fucking I school you. But
yeah,
but like the reason I talk to it, I think I discussed this. The reason I talk to it that I do is because I never want to sound like a like gatekeeping academic fucking cunt.
yeah,
I want you to be able to talk to me like a normal fucking person.
yeah, exactly. And I mean,
But I am
if you want,
extremely fucking intelligent.
yeah, if you want to know about academic gatekeeping, then you're looking at one of them, Helen Joyce.
Yeah,
Right?
she is.
Who, by the way, I have to keep
That's what I don't
screaming
want to
this
sound like.
because it's fucking
Mathematician.
hilarious. But she has a PhD in maths.
Yeah.
Okay, a PhD in maths, and she's here talking about something she doesn't know anything about.
I'm gonna get my PhD in not being a little bitch, and then just you wait, Helen.
Yeah,
Fuck.
you know.
Gonna get my PhD in not being a cunt.
Yep, I definitely signed up for that.
Yeah, I would never get that one though. If the PhD was in not being a cunt, I know I would never fucking be allowed in. Sorry, I can be such a fucking shithead.
Absolutely right. Yes, in fact, what I thought was really quite telling about the Who piece, and I know we've all said this because we all saw it immediately, which is he's almost quoting verbatim from a Twitter thread. He's not made his own jokes up there about sort of trans people themselves. He is literally just parroted what is happening to women and girls every day.
And I thought, that use of the word dinosaurs, that was very telling.
Yeah,
that just showed me he's been listening quietly for a while. He's been paying attention.
He has. And you say that you were jealous of Hayden. We're not jealous of you because, some of us were jealous that Ricky Gervais had liked their tweets. You got a reply.
And then he went, I know. I was like, oh my God, does he follow me? And he does. So I've been thinking, how long has he been following me? Oh my God, we're so sad.
Yeah, you are absolutely perfect pause.
Yeah, you are sad, Helen, and he's not following you because he agrees with you, you prick. He's following you because he knows that he can use your material against you. But I mean, Ricky Gervais, I don't really like him.
Yeah, I think he actually is. Like he seems to be a massive fucking shithead. Also, he just stopped being funny like that. I'm sorry, but I just need this. Like, Dave Chappelle was one of my favorite comedians of all time, and like Ricky Gervais was fucking great in his first special, and I love the fucking Office. Still do, like, great. Ricky Gervais still does some really good television. I must say, I haven't seen Afterlife though, but like Derek was fucking awesome, and like. But when it comes to like stand-up, it seems like transphobia is like incongruent with like being the least bit fucking funny. Because I know this isn't like they joke about the shit that should like I have that are personal to me, but I don't care because they can still be funny there. Like there's something about like specifically transphobia that will just fucking break people's brains. It's like that and racism.
Yeah.
Like I've seen funny, like I technically am some kind of a like weird variation of gay, I guess. But like I mainly do fuck women. But like it's I can laugh at like a homophobic joke about it because sometimes they can even though they are completely fucking blinded by bigotry, they can absolutely. I've heard bigots be funny about their bigoted subjects, even those that pertain to me. But I've never heard anyone be funny about being a transphobe. Or being a racist either, by the way. I've heard people joke about how awful they are as people because of their bigotry. Yeah, I've done that with transphobia and shit. But that then tends to come from someone who actually isn't that bigoted and is like playing a part.
Yeah. I completely agree. Completely agree with you. I mean, personally, for me, if a comedian is going to joke about something that is clearly not something that you should make a joke about, if it is done correctly and it is done in a correct way, where it's funny, yet it's still something you shouldn't really laugh at, I'm okay with that. However, where I do have a problem with it is if it's just for a joke's sake.
Yeah, and also like if it's just for like if it's a shit joke as well, like it's like I do believe that comedy is important, and I believe that even jokes for the sake of jokes are important. I do that shit all the time about horrible subjects, though I try to not like hurt anyone's feelings. But when the joke is shit, that's where I actually start to get offended because, like, oh, you didn't need to do that. Like, you didn't need to like both be boring and a shithead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like the type of comedians I like are the ones who don't even go anywhere near like current events.
Yeah.
I like comedians like there's a comedian I like Billy Connolly. He's
I
a
really like
Scottish
Blake
comedian.
Connolly. Yeah.
There's a comedian who's retired now, but he's extremely funny, called Lee Evans.
Yeah.
I liked Bill Burr.
I really like Bill Burr.
I liked what's his name?
Doug Stanhope is probably my favorite comedian of all time, I think.
What's his name now? Fuck's sake. He was a comedian, but he was also more of a philosopher.
Oh, like George Carlin.
Oh, yeah, I like him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was fucking great. I remember actually. He's one of the few deaths. Like when he died, I was actually sad. Like usually I'm not when like celebrities die because why would I be? I don't know them. But I was
Yeah.
actually sad when he died, like genuinely.
Yeah.
And Bill Hicks, I really fucking liked as well. If you just ignore all his weird nice guy shit. But like Bill Hicks, when he was like an intelligent person and not a fucking raging idiot, nice guy, yeah, then he was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, he died really young. He was like my age, I think.
Yeah, I hate it when people die earlier than expected for whatever reason.
Yeah. But it's kind of the funniest punchline though, because he was a smoker and he did a whole bit about him dying young because of it. A lot about that shit. And like, yeah, the best punchline there is to die young, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose for a lot. Well,
He did die from his smoking.
Yeah. I mean, there is something to that. I mean, if you do anything too excessively, there is a I guess a more higher probability of you potentially passing away early. So there is some truth to that.
I actually had my lungs checked like when I had my stroke, and they were shocked that I have an athlete's lungs. I just want to tell that to everyone out there who never smokes. My lungs are fucking pristine, and I smoke a pack a day. I just want to. I'm just a bitch. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, you see, human.
Let's go. Yeah. They
Helen.
my doctor
So
said.
sad. We can be sad here. It's okay.
Yeah, it's tragic.
We're all
but
sad
anyway.
together. Yeah. We're just a little corner of women just having a chat about this. So back to what you're saying, I do think that social contagion thing is interesting. But I mean, for me, what I saw of it was just the fact that now, he's got the word TERF out into the mainstream. Now, presumably, it's already mainstream, which is why he feels that it's the right time for him to be able to say it. But there are, so there's enough people who understand the word because, they were all laughing, etc. But there will be now some thinking, what is he talking about? What is this that's going on? And we'll hopefully have a look into it and see.
Yeah, see, I don't think that I think that for quite a while now, this has not been about consciousness raising. That's been irrelevant. That was important 2 or 3 years ago when there weren't enough people, but there've been enough people to be critical mass, to be funding the crowdfunders, to be writing letters to MPs, all that sort of thing, to have a movement, to have support for women and men, of course. I mean, there's people like Graham, of course, as well, who've got their necks stuck out on this. We can't win this by saying there's 60x million people in this country and we've got to persuade all of them or a great majority of them. We've got to get through to the decision makers.
Those are the type of people you want to be.
And in the meantime,
they are,
while we're trying to get through to the decision makers, we have to try to limit the harm. And that means reducing or keeping down the number of people who transition. And that's for 2 reasons. One of them is that every one of those people is a person who's been damaged. But the second one is every one of those people is
now we have it.
Basically you know, a huge problem to a sane world. Like if you've got people that, and whether they're transitioned, whether they're happily transitioned, whether they're unhappily transitioned, whether they're detransitioned, if you've got people who've dissociated from their sex in some way, every one of those people
You
is
skip
someone who
backwards.
needs
You said
special
something so
accommodation
fucked right after
in a
there,
sane
and I kind of
world where
screamed over
we
it.
re-acknowledge the truth of sex.
She says whether
And
they're
you know, people
happily
have been
transitioned or not
damaged
right
by it.
after.
The children
It's
who've been put through this, those people.
I was right. You are. Whoa, you're a bad person, Helen.
Graham, of course, as well. Who've got their necks stuck out on this. We can't win this by saying, you know, there's 60x million people in this country and we've got to persuade all of them or a great majority of them. We've got to get through to the decision makers. And in the meantime, while we're trying to get through to the decision makers, we have to try to limit the harm. And that means reducing or keeping down the number of people who transition. And that's for two reasons. One of them is that every one of those people is a person who's been damaged. But the second one is every one of those people is basically, you know, a huge problem to a sane world. Like if you've got people that, and whether they're transitioned, whether they're happily transitioned, whether they're unhappily transitioned, whether they're detransitioned, if you've got people who've dissociated from their sex in some way, every one of those people is someone who needs special accommodation in a sane world where we re-acknowledge the truth of sex. And I mean, the people who've been damaged by it, the children who've been put through this, those people deserve every accommodation we can possibly make. But every one of them is a different.
Because I need to fucking go off on this. Hi, Helen, you absolute fucking shithead. I hope that you get run over by a fucking truck and dies. And I have no problem with saying that at this point. I'm going to just talk directly to you, Helen. You awful fucking person. The fact that you say whether they're happily transitioned or not, the fact that you don't care about their happiness, what you care about is some fucking idea about a sane world, about some fucking, because you, some fucking illusory thought, some weird fucking fantasy about what is supposed to be the correct way to be. The fact that you would rather put that over what I guess you see as degeneracy, then, to use a word that is fitting for your ilk, you fucking fascists. The fact that you put that over people's happiness is one of the most disgusting things that I've ever heard. You are such a bad person in such a fundamental way. I do hope that you suffer when you die. And your death will make no fucking bones about that. Your death will be played out to the soundtrack of a fucking beeping heart monitor because there will be no one else there to hear it. You are nothing. You are die. There, I'm done. I'm sorry, I had to fucking get that one off my chest.
No, it's all right. I think
that was the meanest I've been.
Yeah. I mean,
it's that she doesn't even care if they're happy. This shit saves lives, but it doesn't matter to her. What matters to her is some fucking idea about. She has like 20 years left in her. I'm going to outlive you, Helen. Just know that.
You know, the mere fact that she says people who disassociate from their gender, people who suffer from gender dysphoria, which is real, by the way, which a lot of a lot of TERFs and GC people don't seem to understand that. They never do. You know, it's not that they are disassociating. They have a mismatch between their sex sign of birth and their gender. I don't know. I shouldn't
care about their happiness.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to keep fucking repeating this over and over again to these dumb fucks. Sex and gender are completely different. Sex is not binary. Sex is bimodal. Right? I am not a biologist, right? But why is it that many people like me in the community seem to know more on this than biologists.
Yeah.
That should not be the
Uh,
case.
but like also like a small, tiny fraction of biologists. Most of them are absolutely on our side because they are correct. And it's like that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like you are such a small sect, and you just work so fucking hard to make the lives of an even smaller group of people miserable. Like fucking do what Heaven's Gate did, and at least be a sect that ends it.
But what's more troubling, and I'm
Gotcha,
gonna,
Heaven.
and I'm going to make the leap here, and
Yeah.
this is just my opinion on what I've just heard in the last 3 or 4 minutes,
Yeah.
is that she is hiding the fact, not very well, but she's hiding the fact that what she's actually talking about is she's talking about conversion therapy.
Yeah, she's talking about four-stage transition, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is conversion therapy. At best, it's conversion therapy. At worst, this is a call for genocide. I'm going to absolutely say that this is a call for genocide. I don't give a shit at this point. She doesn't give me the fucking respect that I should have. I'm not going to give it to her. I hope she gets hit by a fucking truck.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They are. No, it is.
I'm sorry, I got
absolutely,
riled up by myself there.
no, it's all right. No, it's absolutely genocide. You're correct. But it's like,
I thought I was going to say at worst it's genocide, like, but then I realized that fuck it, she's actually
Yeah.
purporting to genocide, which is great. You genocidal fucking cunt.
yeah. And before actually no, I'll say what I've got to say at the end, because
Yeah.
I just want to get through this.
Difficulty.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, I know
Yes.
that sounds heartless. I'm trying to say exactly the opposite of sounding heartless. I'm saying every one of those people for 50, 60, 70 years is going to need things that the rest of us just don't need because the rest of us are just our sex. So the fewer of those people there are, the better.
Oh
in the
yeah,
sane
but
world
for
that
like
I would
their
reach.
entire lives,
Yes, you're
diabetics
absolutely
needs
right.
medicine as
And
well.
not just
Let's
other
kill them.
things that they're also going to need is people to tell them that actually nobody really does hate them. No one hates them.
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
compassion for them. But the trans movement really has done a terrible job.
Oh yeah,
saying that everyone hates you. I mean,
Nobody
you
hates
see
trans people, right? You too.
Helen Staniland, what compassion?
Yeah.
Please elaborate. What compassion do you have for trans people? You don't have any. What
You're
compassion do you
professional
have for?
victims.
What compassion do you have for? And I'm going to say
Yes,
the
fucking
word
none.
rape
Yeah.
victims who were raped by cis men. What compassion do you have for them? None. You don't care. So let's not pretend.
But they need
Right.
to.
Like,
I'm going to say, like, I don't have any compassion for you two. Like at least I'm open about it. Like I feel nothing but fucking spite against you, and I do. I hate you fucking people because you hurt like so many. You like make children suicidal. You make them actually do it. You are the reason that why children dies. Like that's just a fact. You are the worst fucking scum out there, and I want that if by chance you would were to find this, and I fucking hope you do. And that's why I'm talking directly like this.
yeah.
Just know that whatever compassion you think you feel isn't there. What you actually feel is disgust about degeneracy because you are a fucking fascist. And it's that simple. And you actually saying that nobody's hitting trans people, when you sit and you talk to a person who just said that every single trans person is a huge problem for a sane world, whether they are happily transitioned or not, whether they are happy. Like, you fucking worthless fucking worm, you spineless cunt. At least be open about your hatred like I am, you fucking pathetic coward.
Yeah, and speaking of, trying to, no, not trying to, they are looking for a mass genocide of trans women. I mean, let's face facts. Speaking of that, a trans boy, 17, he was in a mental health ward. And he ended up committing suicide.
Oh, right. I hope they found the link because I hope they had a good day today then. Fucking hell. Oh, you can't say that they like watching trans people die. Yes, they fucking do.
I don't know the full details, but I was obviously online and doing whatever, and it popped up in the headline. So, so Helen, what are you gonna say to his parents? Oh, we have compassion for trans people. No, don't. Like, please don't insult your own intelligence by being a complete fucking
Don't act
prick.
like we're fucking idiots either. Like, I know what compassion feels like. What you give isn't it. What I give you isn't compassion. I wish you were fucking aborted.
Yeah. I wish
You're a failed miscarriage, you fucking losers.
Yeah. It's like, excuse me. Let's
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is me getting fucking
It's
hell.
like online saying, "Oh, I'm so frightened for my child coming out into a world where everyone hates them," and I'm like, "No one hates your kid, man. Like, no one hates your kid. You're
It's the
just
person
doing
hating
this.
your
You're
kid.
perpetuating the harm by saying this." But
no,
but saying
they're
that,
getting them ready.
I thought that article in the BBC, was it Patrick Stridrick?
Helen, a good parent who actually listens to their kid, right, takes on board what they're saying, actually supports their kid, their trans kid, right? They're not perpetuating anything. They're actually doing the right thing,
Yeah.
and making sure their kid gets the best treatment they can.
And do you know why they tell them that, like, oh, I'm worried about my child because everyone hates them? It's like because of people like fucking you.
Yeah, and there's
You
people.
make parents worried about their children fucking health. I just want like fucking hell.
Yeah, and there's people like Kevin Lister as well.
Who's? God damn it! I've forgotten who that is. Oh yeah, he's that fucking teacher.
Yeah. Also, the only people who are perpetuating abuse here is you lot.
I am absolutely perpetuating these two getting abused. Oh no, I'm proposing it. I want them to be. They should be. They fucking deserve to be. I'm done playing around right now. I've had a shit.
Strudwick, I think, yes.
Had written was quite frightening because it did show exactly what women had been saying, that this conversion therapy ban is exactly sort of a talk-in therapy ban. It's just wanting to prevent
these people
anything.
How stupid!
Oh yeah,
are
you were
they?
anti the conversion therapy
Their best line was,
ban.
"We're not criminalising ordinary talking therapy. Of course we're not. Of course you can continue to practice the way that you always were." Then get banned through and then make it impossible to do anything except affirmation. That was the smart move. But they're so dumb that they have to reveal while the ban is still in question that actually a 25-minute Zoom call with a child in which you check whether the two of you can work together by asking some probing questions and then conclude that no, you can't, which is a very understandable thing. I mean, it's very hard actually for a child who's had an appointment made by their parents. You know, children do get dragged to therapy. It's kind of pointless. It's what mum and dad want. It's not what they want. They've got to learn the hard way themselves. So, you know, I'm not even saying that this was a surprise.
No, you don't force a child like
The
that.
appointment was made by the parents.
Like, no therapy should do that.
I think. So, yeah, I mean,
Are you
as Hakeem
fucking
tried to keep
insane?
provocative remarks along the lines of, you know, has it occurred
I
to you
don't
that
care
like
if
I
it's
was
not
when I was
about
goth?
trans people. You don't
This
put
child
someone
says
who
that she was
don't want to get
traumatised by it and
into
is still
therapy
waking up
into
with
therapy.
nightmares several weeks after.
You never do that. No, like, unless it's like criminal fucking psychosis. You don't put anyone who don't want to be in therapy into therapy, because then the therapy won't fucking work.
Exactly. It's like, you know, it's like trying
Fucking hell.
to, you know, for someone who is suicidal and trying to force them to get help. Like, it's not gonna work. Right, but she, like, was Helen Joyce, like, I'm just gonna call her Joyce because they're two fucking Helens. Did she try and correlate being goth to being trans?
Yeah, and like,
Or what was she trying to say? Like, she's not making any sense.
no, what she's saying is that it's good that children are forced into conversion therapy, actually. That's what she's saying.
Oh,
And I bet
right,
she wants
okay.
that for goths as well. Like, I don't know exactly what she was saying word for word, but it's absolutely what she wants to say. She was, but I think even if she equates that, like, yeah, I'm sure she wants that for goths as well. Like, she's like a conservative fucking wine mum.
I don't know. I don't know the
Women and
stats.
children. I want to kick you into fucking fire.
I don't know the stats. And if any, you know, goths are watching or listening to our podcast, and you
I was
want
saying
to
that.
and you want to share your experiences, or let us, or what, or, you know, then do please, you know, let us know
I know I
in
go
the
more for
comment
the
section
like
of
Barbie look
YouTube.
now, but I was an old goth. I am an old goth.
Yeah.
I go more for the like Barbie look now, though. But you know, like I was a side normie at birth.
Yeah. But the question I was going to pose was, wasn't really a question. What I was going to say was, a lot of goths, I'm presuming, a lot of them either ended up being trans themselves,
Yeah.
or being non-binary, or being part of the LGBTQ community. So you're listening. So you blindly saying, "Oh, goth." Well, goth lesbians exist. Trans goth
you know,
exists.
do you know how many fucking like trans people there are in alternative circles? What the fucking hell?
A lot.
Yeah.
Because
Guess
that
why?
is probably the scene where they felt most comfortable.
Yeah, because they are already like ostracized from society.
Yeah.
And like alternative spaces are more okay with like alternative living.
Yeah.
Sometimes to the detriment of fun.
Yeah. You are free to express yourself. Be who you are.
Yeah.
Because
I have this joke that I do, which is make sex filthy again, where I say that like the sex progression, the marching on for the sexual progressive movement has been wonderful in many ways. Unfortunately, it has made sex less sexy by making it less dirty. Like, if everything is okay, then I need to go so fucking far.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, it's like,
but like, if that's the problem, then who cares, really?
yeah. It's like, Joyce, you know, I know you're not gonna ever listen to this or even ever reply to a message that I tag you in, right? But please, for the love of God, and do some research. I know that you're the CEO of Sex Matters, which isn't a real charity, by the way.
We all know that.
Yeah. Do your research.
Go read some more underage porn.
Yeah, or do that. Actually, do that instead.
Don't do that. But
no,
like,
please do, please do, because she's just embarrassing herself.
Yeah, no one's gonna. It's fictional. Like it's really, but she's also like the worst thing she does. You're reading fanfic out, and that was the funniest fucking shit. But oh god, I gotta give credit to my fucking boyfriend who tweeted that shit. Like, and just in case anyone doesn't know this right now, he absolutely does only tweet in caps lock, like with caps lock on, because he's a fucking crazy person. So just imagine that, like, in caps lock, and it was like what reading reading fictional child porn is completely unproblematic. However, reading fan fiction in public is the bigger crime that she did. Which is like, there's a fucking reason that I'm. He's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
But he's just shit talent. I don't think she will listen to this. At least if she listened to this, I think that she would like get up to the point where I just say that I want her to get hit by a fucking bus. She's just not getting through that rant. Or if she does, well, more power to you. You're.
I loved the quote that you can't stop the words from going into your head if you hear them. You don't give consent for hearing things.
Yes, I thought that was actually, it was quite telling, wasn't it? Because it is what the ideology has been trying to do. So
make very, very fragile deaf people. But so that article, that's just the perfect thing to bring to politicians and say,
I'm fragile, right?
Going after ordinary exploratory therapy and good practice. The things that Hilary Cass said about diagnostic overshadowing and how the memorandum of understanding for psychotherapy was very harmful.
I've been doing this shit for 21 episodes, and it's taken till this episode for me to actually get angry.
Journalists, I should say, were trolling online for people to get in touch with them if they had any of Stella O'Malley as Hakeem, a bunch of other people as their therapists. Like, there was a list of people circulating on Twitter saying, if any of these have been your therapists, please get in touch. So they went trolling for that story, and that was the worst thing they could find. As Hakeem asked some questions.
It doesn't sound particularly ethical.
Doing investigative research.
I mean, this girl is now 18, apparently, so she is an adult now. But I mean, Strudwick's talking about something that happened when she was 17. I mean, there's just some ethical considerations there as a journalist.
Yes. Exactly.
Now, she is 18. Let me repeat. She's got the right to tell her own story. She's an adult. There's no special consideration there.
No, absolutely. But simply sort of trolling online and targeting therapists, saying,
by name.
It creates the story, doesn't it? By saying, these are the therapists you have to watch out for. And
I mean,
what it shows is,
and what it shows is that
her story is that he sucked.
Conversion therapy ban is just the icing on the cake. They've got what they want already, which is that nobody ethical is willing to work with these kids. Like, what Hilary Cass said was diagnostic overshadowing, which wasn't an expression I'd come across before. But what she was saying was that as soon as a child who may be autistic, self-harming, eating disorders, ADHD, obsessive compulsive disorder, all these things that we know co-occur with gender dysphoria, once a child like that says the word gender, other...
Joyce, you fucking stupid cunt. Autism has no correlation to gender dysphoria or being trans. Neither does mental health. A trans person or a non-binary non-binary person who or whoever within the trans community, them having or not having a mental health issue
Yeah.
does not equate
And also, like,
to being trans. That's irrelevant.
and
They can
also, like,
have a
I
mental
hate
health
this
issue,
idea that being autistic
but
has any fucking bearing on your intelligence.
yeah, so autism is not linked to being trans. It just isn't.
No. Or not knowing about yourself. Like,
Yeah,
it's other people who don't understand autistics. We understand ourselves.
yeah. It's like,
Same in trans people, actually.
you know, if a trans person does have a mental health issue or a mental illness, that is completely separate to them being trans. There's no correlation.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, being trans is the most boring part about me. That's kind of what I'm bothered about, why these people keep talking about it so much.
Yeah,
Like,
and
talk about something that's actually disturbing about me.
yeah, and Joyce brought up a therapist, Stella O'Malley,
Yeah.
who is good friends with Gina.
Oh, of fucking course it is.
She is a conversion therapy
She.
advocate,
Oh, yeah.
and she
Yeah, of course she
works
is.
with vulnerable people,
Yeah.
and she should
She works
be
with children, probably.
stuck off. But yeah, uh, we've been going for an hour, and we're already 10
Yeah.
minutes and 14 seconds in. This
Yeah.
is great.
This is going great. If I'm going to have to listen to the entire thing tonight, I'm going to have a fucking aneurysm from anger. But I can go a bit more. But at some point, I am actually going to have to, like, because this makes me furious in a way that few things do.
Yeah, what I might do is
I don't know if you've noticed, I'm a bit mad.
yeah. What I might do is to obviously say one time, because obviously, you know, I'll skip ahead quite a
Yeah.
way so that we can actually, finish this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I don't want to have, because I don't know about you, but I can't be doing with a part 2. I just want to get over
No.
and done with.
Yeah.
Doctors go, oh, I don't do gender, we better refer you. And they won't keep working with the child when the child is on the waiting list for the gender clinic. They just leave them because they're afraid to touch a child who says gender. Well, wouldn't you be afraid to touch a child who says gender if this is what could happen to you?
Yes,
Why do
of
you want
course.
to touch
And
children?
I'm assuming that's part of the reason for trolling and writing the story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If they
No, she said, why would you?
Yeah. That
She
was
said,
low hanging fruit.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, it's a job. Like,
Yeah.
if a kid comes to you, like, you're a therapist. Like, you don't just leave them there.
I hope no children come to those
stupid thing
therapists.
to
But
say.
fucking hell. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, she's been going for the fucking gold medal of idiocy in this episode.
they can't get it through,
Yeah.
and they would do what they, they will just use the
Now,
same.
if they were smart.
I mean, honestly, they've only got one tactic, haven't they? Which
If
is
they were
to
smart,
try
they
and
would have waited.
silence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's intimidation. It's straightforward intimidation of people like Az. Yeah. I mean, Az now, I think, only works with adults and with detransitioners.
And that's such a shame because I think I said last week, I heard him speak last year on a sort of a Welsh woman speak out sort of meeting. And he came across as so thoughtful and so understanding and so knowledgeable. I mean, he's been thinking about this for the last sort of 20 years, it turns out.
And the other specific thing that Az knows much more about than anyone else, because he knows about it personally, is the homophobia that's at the heart of trans ideology. So Az is an out gay man, and a quite flamboyantly out gay man. It wouldn't take you long talking to him to guess that he's gay. And he got a job at the Tavistock at the gender clinic in the 1990s, but they didn't interview him and they didn't realize he was gay. And after he came in, what he understood, gradually, was that they still had these sort of weird Freudian ideas about Oedipal complex and about how being gay demonstrated that you were psychologically a damaged person and you had not grown up properly, and that they believed that if you were gay, you couldn't be a proper therapist. But it was completely fine to be trans, because that just meant that you'd got a gender identity that wasn't matched with your sex assigned at birth. But being gay disqualified you. So Anne's was like really put in the deep freeze when they realised that he was gay. But they were completely happy with him. Saying, oh, completely shocking. This is the late 1990s, early 2000s. So, you know,
It's not that long ago.
Yes, not that long ago, exactly. So this is a man who, you know, it does really annoy me. You hear this even from people who are quite sympathetic and who understand a lot about the trans ideology. They say, oh, I think it's a bit much to say that parents transition their kids because they're homophobes. And they just don't understand how it works. They don't understand how many people are deeply, deeply ashamed, especially of gender non-conforming behaviour in boys. And if you have got a boy who's super
trust
girly,
us, we fucking are.
think that this is really a girl somehow, and that's definitely not your fault or anything you should do, or you're not going to grow up to be a bloody flaming queer. He's not going to come home with some guy in motorcycle leathers or something, you know. He's just going to grow up to be a good, you know, nice girl. She's sterile, but there you go. Like, is that your problem? Do you think about your children's sex drive? You know, a bit awkward thinking about that.
Why do you think about all the children's sex drive? And why do you think about fucking? I will sterilize myself. It has nothing to do with me being trans. It has to do with me not wanting children. Is that a problem too? I will be getting sterilized. I won't be doing it myself.
Using the flaming queer and leather, like that's a overused stereotype. Like,
Oh
yes,
yeah, absolutely.
there are queer people, gay people, for those who don't like the word queer, but they can fuck off. Do exist, right? So that stereotype is correct, is right for them, but not for every gay person. And I don't fucking know, but I'm gonna go to.
She's a worthless fucking person. Like, just absolutely fucking worthless. She brings no, like, the world would be a better place without her.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking angry right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I've skipped to the 35-minute mark.
Yeah.
Page 3, no, page 3, and then beginning of 2014. It is, you know, that's the first time I used the words sort of TERF. And I know in the middle there, I got myself an anonymous account because I'd already seen at that point that women were getting vilified. But anyway, that's an aside. So I'm thinking back for the Normal Page 3 campaign.
Women
that
aren't
was the
getting
first
vilified.
time I'd
You
really
are, because you're the fucking
done
villains.
anything like that. And what was interesting about it was that it was focused. It had an aim, and that aim was to get Page 3 out of the sun. And in doing that, lots of other questions and interesting sort of ideas came along, and it enabled me to think about things and to read things, etc. But it was focused, and it had an aim, and then that aim was done, and then I moved on to other things.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you wouldn't have been somebody who, when you were asked, you know, like, I'll tell you another thing I noticed looking through it. So, I mean, most of Catherine McGahey's testimony was about this word coerce, because the thing is, she had found, as the vice chair of the Bar Standards Board, she had given it as her opinion that Alison's tweet about the cotton sealing workshop by Morgan Page was likely to breach the Bar Standards Board's standards. Now, that wasn't a finding. She was asked for her advice, and Alison was told that she should take it down, and Alison refused to, and there were no consequences. But anyway, she said that on the basis of the word coercion. Alison had said that the very idea of the cotton sealing workshop is coercion. So for anyone who doesn't know about this bloody workshop, which has become notorious, it was held by this trans woman called Morgan Page under the auspices of Planned Parenthood. Morgan Page is Canadian, but now lives in London and works for Stonewall. Small world. And the idea of it was, by direct analogy with the glass ceiling, to get trans women together to strategize overcoming the cotton ceiling, the barriers to trans women getting laid by lesbians. And it really uses those words: barrier, overcome, strategized. And Alison characterized this in a tweet as coercion. So Catherine McGahey brought her entire training as a barrister to bear on defending her, saying that the word coercion was not justified. And she then had to talk about 3 groups on the wrong side of a barrier, namely Black South Africans, women in work, and trans women in lesbian dating spaces, as people who could get what they wanted without coercion. Now, one of these things is not like the others, you see.
No.
So she's trying to talk about Black South Africans and women, women's long history for rights, and they could do it all without coercion. You're like, I think there was a fair bit of, throwing your weight around at various points because we had right on our side. And then, you see, the reason she has to say that the trans women aren't being coercive is because it's bloody rapey. Like,
yes.
What this wretched cotton ceiling workshop makes me think of is, have you seen these pickup artists? Do you know these guys?
Oh, yes. I actually, there was a guy I used to sit next to at work. He went on these courses. He used to talk to me about it way back in the sort of noughties, that before I'd even sort of thought about all of this stuff. He went on a course with one of them, and then it was all about negging and how to all this. I was at the time I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's only after thinking back I'm like,
that was freaky. That was really creepy of them. Yeah. And it is coercive. I mean, the word coercive is a word that has changed in its understanding over the last 10 years. And I think rightly, like, we now have this idea of coercive control, like, domestic relationships, usually men, keeping women under the thumb by things like, constantly putting them down, checking up on them 500 times a day, that sort of thing. Even if the woman never has any justified fear that he's going to punch her, because it's not a man who's ever punched her, it may still be coercive. And that's recognized now in law. And so, I mean, some of the pickup artist things are just like, keep clean, go to the gym and work out, dress well, sort out your own self-esteem issues. Like, they're not bad advice, actually. But mostly what it's about is, as you say, negging, which is, backhanded.
Somebody asked. Yes, sorry. Somebody's asked what negging is.
So it's short for negative, I think. It's when you give a woman a compliment that's actually an insult. So you say something like, "Oh, they're nice nails. Are they real?"
Or we have compassion for you. Really, we just want to help you. I just want to help you stop being
that sort of thing. So you're putting her down.
Yes,
like you're doing to trans people. You are negging trans people.
Less confident, more vulnerable, more off balance, that sort of thing. So it's all. I mean, some of these techniques are bullshit. They're based on neurolinguistic programming, which is bullshit. It's like the use of language that's meant to be, that infallibly you can get people to do what you want them to do by using words the right way. But the aim is to get, if only the aim is to get women into bed who don't want to get into bed with you. That's the aim of it. And the full pickup artist.
Yeah, it's manipulation.
Coercion,
like you're doing.
So if you understand, the cotton ceiling is just pickup artistry for trans women. That's all it is.
Yes, so, and in fact, it was even reasonably. I mean, to be fair, it was quite a long time ago, and and at that time, like I was saying to you, a colleague of mine would talk openly about it.
So this was 2019, I think, this workshop. So, I think some people already noticed it. Like, I remember seeing stuff about that workshop. Planned Parenthood had a statement about it. And they said, there was no coercion involved and no coercion discussed.
God, I'm not entirely surprised that it was done because that was the sort of thing that was going on in
it's still going on.
Men's world.
Yeah, it's called PUA, pickup artists. PUA. All these PUA guys are still doing their thing big time. And women say it's disgusting, or it's coercive, it's part of rape culture or whatever. All of this is true. It doesn't get us anywhere. So Alison is just talking about the lesbian equivalent, which is trans women who are men getting together to discuss strategizing, getting into lesbian.
I'm just right. Let me. Trans women do not.
I'll pick apart it.
And I'm going to imply this because I think that this is what she's implying. Trans women do not invade lesbian spaces. Trans women date lesbians? Yes, because some trans women are lesbians.
Yeah.
Right?
Or bi or
But-
whatever. Like some trans
Yeah.
women like women. A lot of us actually.
But trans women are not pickup artists.
Also, like, do you know how fucking good I was at dating as a man? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. I cut my dating pool clear in half when I came out as trans. I have a harder time right now dating than I did before, which is still piss easy, by the way. I was great at straight chicks, and now no straight chick wants me.
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah, I did this. I absolutely did this to get laid. I had a body count of 200 before I was trans, you fucking idiot.
So, do you really think that a trans woman early in her transition thinks, oh, dating's going to be really easy when I transition? Do you really think trans people think that? No, they don't, because dating isn't on their mind. Unlike straight
Do you know what a
people
lot of?
who constantly,
Do you know what a lot of?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're talking to the wrong trans person because it is like dating and fucking is constantly on my mind. But I'm
Yeah.
not a representative in that regard. But I just want like, do you know what most trans people actually are? Like a lot of, not most. I'm not going to say a lot of them aren't in relationships. But like, do you know what any trans person who's in a current relationship when that happens is? Because it's something that they know will happen afterwards. Like a lot of us did. I knew my relationship to one of the like my best friend is my ex. The reason she's my ex is because I came out as trans. That like we would have broken up eventually either way. But I knew that. I was with her for 4.5 years. She was the most important person in my life. She still is the most important person in my life. Now just sharing the top spot with my boyfriend. But I knew I had to risk losing the person who meant fucking everything to me. I wasn't thinking about dating them.
Yeah.
I was thinking about having to make that choice, having to risk that. I would have died if she would have gone away from my life. She is desperately important to me. She is like my other half. I would be dead by now if it weren't for her.
Yeah, and that
I
is
wasn't thinking
completely
about dating. I
understandable.
hated
Yeah.
coming out. I'm sorry, I'm getting pissed in this episode. Pissed off, by the way. I'm still not drinking. Just letting you know that there is at least one drug that I won't partake in.
Yeah. No, I mean you're absolutely right, and if you're interested in, if you do think about dating when you're in transition, then listen,
Yeah, that's fine.
that's completely fine. But to sit here like Joyce is doing and suggest that trans women are pickup artists, no. Because again, and I'm gonna keep saying this, until I'm fucking blue in the face like a Smurf. Trans women aren't a danger to lesbians, in fact, to anyone, right? Because if a cis man wanted to invade a woman's space, they'd do it in a heartbeat, and there are plenty of cases where that has happened. So,
Yeah.
Helen Joyce is once again just showing her fucking stupidity.
Oh yeah, she
But
absolutely is.
yeah, right, I'm gonna do a huge skip again to 51:48, and then we're gonna let it roll from there.
LGBTQ plus hate. Oh, like this, she's talking like that. And Kieran's like, yeah. So would you say that you're very committed to this, like so committed, so personally committed? And Kieran's going, yeah, so done. So yeah, so basically that was the idea, was to present this as Kieran had sent this off without talking to anyone else at Stonewall. And Kieran's like, yeah.
That's
Oh God, it was something else. I'm so glad I watched it, but I've got very little done in the last 2 weeks.
it's a shame that it's not been recorded, though, isn't it? I'm
Oh
glad.
my God. Yes.
You're able to actually tell us on camera how some of it went down, but that it is a shame, because I mean, one of the things that we really do need is for the wider public to understand that it isn't all vulnerable. I mean, to be fair,
they are very vulnerable. Kieran
again,
Metcalfe and Sian Canan are very vulnerable people, but they're a mixture of vulnerable and vicious.
Well, and powerful.
Yes. So Kieran, I mean, would you imagine you're a young woman who's 5 weeks into a new job at a charity with a good name, like Stonewall. Like, I mean, we don't think it's got a good name, but it still has a good name. Like, that's a great job to land. Head of Trans Inclusion. 5 weeks in, you see some tweets you don't like, and you send an email to all the heads of chambers, and I think other people at one of the biggest barristers' chambers in Britain, saying, like, not even in good grammar and like proper English, saying, associating with this woman is going to cause a problem for us. You might like to rethink it. Like, I wouldn't do that now.
No, I was thinking exactly the same thing. I was thinking, if I send an email at work, I really consider my words. I consider the message I'm sending. What am I saying? Who am I saying it to?
Well, Kieran said she did do that.
Very careful.
That's fucking
She
dark
said
when it comes from you.
praise, but I suppose,
dear God.
who the fuck do you think you are, child? Like,
Yes.
Bailey, a barrister, a woman with her gravitas and standing and so on. Like, yes, okay, everybody is open to criticism. Everyone can say what they think. But do you really think? Do you not think that you should maybe check out whether you're on the right side here?
Yes, but I still think. I mean,
you aren't.
Honestly, the insult about we're not safe. We're not safe. We might not be safe. I mean, that's almost fucking libelous, isn't it?
It is, but if you think about it,
you're getting a bit hurt. It hurts your fucking feelings, does it?
No, wait. The other Kieran is a woman who thinks she's a man.
Sorry, yes, Kieran is a woman who thinks she's a man, so she goes and uses men's spaces where she is putting herself in danger all the time,
person alive,
and trying to pretend, trying to conceal that fact from herself. So I don't think that's not relevant. I think that's what she thinks of when she thinks about using the wrong toilets.
Oh, that's interesting. So, because it occurs to me that not all women who identify as trans would use, say, changing rooms.
I know, but I think Kieran is a head case. So,
okay, that's very interesting. Yeah. So
I don't know that she does, but anyway, I mean, she was full on with the, you can't tell what sex people are. There is no such thing as sex. Sex is whatever you say it is. So,
well. Cheers to Alison for doing it, and all of you for doing all of the transcribing.
Wait, Jesus, it is so tiring. It really is. Like, it's fascinating, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's been hours of endless arguments about how barristers do their billing. It's like I understand this is important for any damages, but are we going to talk about how Alison records her holidays again?
We're going to talk about how fucking worthless you are again.
You've laid yourself sort of open and vulnerable to the world. So I have to say, I mean, fair play to her for doing it.
It's really been awful for her. I cannot. She's a very private person, Alison. I don't know her well, and that's part of my point. I see her at things sometimes, and she hasn't reached out, as far as I know, to many people for support to talk things through. I just think she keeps things close to herself, and I don't think that's surprising when you know anything about her history. But what she's been through and what she suffered is pretty extreme. And I think it's made her somebody who's deeply private.
Yes, I think that's fair. So when you think of it, that was even worse, isn't it?
It is.
The people are talking about you as if you're like a truly horrible, frightening, dangerous person. It's
you are all of those things. I
get it on Twitter a tiny bit. People saying, "Oh, she's a horrible bully, etc." And I look at myself and I think, I'm just not.
One of the really awful.
No, you are. You are a fucking terrible person.
Her secretly.
The world would be better if you died.
To Garden Court Chambers, like her sides of phone calls. Can you
That's how bad you are.
Could you ever trust anyone again?
No, that's such a violation, isn't it? a
Yeah,
violation of
really.
your trust, your friendship, your privacy. It's so disappointing.
Yeah.
Such
Yeah.
a
Yeah, that would be
disappointing thing.
awful, wouldn't it?
Oh, well, anyway, so let's, she's won, regardless of the outcome. I think she's won.
Well, I
So
doubt
let's
she'll
say
feel like that, I
she
have
is.
to say. But you know,
Well,
what we can
true.
do is do our best
But
to
yes,
say.
for the wider, personally maybe not, but for the wider movement of women and girls, I think certainly a big contribution to
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
just sort of opening the ideology up, you know, examining it, people having to examine it, people being able to see it.
And this
because
impact of getting outside groups coming in, which isn't just, by the way, LGBT stuff. Like when you sign up to these things thinking that they're a way of signaling your virtue, which is what employers are always looking for. They're always looking to say, you know, we are green, we are equal, we're good for this, that, and the other.
Yes.
You know, they don't actually want to do anything about it. They don't actually want to, you know,
Well, employers don't, but you
supply
know,
chain.
there are people who
they just
believe
want to
those things,
give
right?
people rainbow lanyards and say we're inclusive. Oh, so of course, it's the easiest way.
But once you get them in, it's not actually that easy, because you know what these people do is they create indexes and then they measure you against the index, and you've given them the power to set all sorts of things and to make you look bad if you don't do them. And those things aren't necessarily your you know, in your interests, or things that make any sense for you, or that are, you know, in any way relevant, or even the right things for the outcome that you're saying you want. And yet, too bad for you, you're the fool who let them in the door.
Yes,
I'd kick out this whole EDI and you know, corporate social responsibility and things. I would just kick it all out, because I think on the whole, on balance, it's very bad.
Yes,
you know, and let companies do it.
Point. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I think that's one of the things that has struck me about this, is that I've become so much more aware of sort of dangers sort of lurking in terms of, you know, what's the word? A little Trojan horse, maybe, should we say?
It was very Trojan horse. I have just I know we're coming up to our hour, but I have to tell you this afternoon.
No, go for it, man.
God, they spent about 20 minutes with Hockhauser insisting that he never used Twitter and asking to have the most painful things explained to him. It was like the worst seminar on Twitter that you've ever heard done incredibly slowly. So he's got this quite posh voice. He's quite you know, he thinks quite highly of himself, and why shouldn't he use a QC? But he was saying things like, so if you open up the bundle at page 5927, there is a screen capture of a tweet on this page. And if you look underneath, there is a speech bubble. May I ask what the purpose of this speech bubble is? And then some terrible explanation of this.
And
then next to it, there is a heart. And then that was explained to him too. And he's like, and then they took himself and David Jimenez's, who's the
has he seen social media at all?
Guy from Garden Court, was trying to explain to
what does this heart on this social media post mean?
Blocking people, and I was there going like, God,
I am ancient.
Patience.
And I fucking
did none of them learn how
system.
Twitter worked? Like maybe
that's
a year ago.
Isn't it?
A year ago,
yes.
You knew you were doing this bloody hearing that was hinging on what was said on Twitter. I wonder, was it strategic?
There's only 4 things. Like you tweet.
I kind of love the fact that they wait.
Well,
you respected you so fucking little.
They kept saying like, "Are you publishing this on
Twitter?" That's fucking great.
Painful bit of boomerism.
He's still a fucking idiot, though. But like clearly, like that's fun.
So I still wonder, was it deliberate?
There's so little fucking respect for you.
Down a bit, because I mean, his hearing could run out of time, and that would be catastrophic.
What would happen? Would it
just finish it, and then next year, when there's time in the calendar, like in a year's time or something, they come back for like 2.5 people.
Oh no, it has to finish, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, it may not. Not if they spend 20 damn minutes explaining how the like button works.
Honestly, at that point, you're just going to say, "Look, you don't know how it works." Then
because you've made you've been so fucking Twitter addicted. These people have done that. Like they can't exist in the real world. This is what happens now.
Or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So listen, before we finish, I do want to say, so now that your book is in paperback, it's come out in paperback. Do you do you have any idea about sort of sales and how it's going? And
I don't know totals, but it's like really, really good. Like I went to I went to
excellent.
the
Cheers.
10th anniversary of my agent was last Thursday. I went to a party with a lovely turf corner at it. It was great. There were about 8 of us. Caroline's partner came over and I said, "Oh, do you do the MRAs?" Which was very, very unfair to her. She does not do the MRAs. But anyway, yes, that was great. And some of the people at the publishers came over and said, "Oh, this is amazing how well this is done," and things like people I didn't know. So yeah, so great. It's doing really well.
Brilliant. And so that's brilliant for you personally, but also, of course, it's amazing that people are learning, people are understanding and learning what's going on. I mean, you've done such a brilliant job with that book.
Thank you.
I mean, I've seen people saying, "Oh, I'm reading it for the second time now," and I'm thinking, actually, that is something you could do, isn't it? Because you can go back and you can think, like, now that things
you can reread books, Helen. You're absolutely right. You are correct on that. You can reread books. I've reread quite a few of them
with the ideas in it. Would you do anything different if you'd written it again now?
I mean,
I think you've moved on enough that you would change some of the content.
I mean, I'm sure that I would just say things a bit differently because I understand things a bit better now. I would have had to find a way to work in the poor teenage boys who are transitioning now. Like it didn't fit in my structure, but it's a huge thing, and it's a thing I didn't even know was happening until I was nearly finished writing.
No, you can work in a way to find. It's like talk about how they kill themselves when they meet you.
Bring people by the hand through the
because of shit that you do. That's you could work in that. How the poor trans women teenagers end their fucking lives because of people like you.
Absolutely.
The reasons that people transition. And there were just 2 original reasons why men transition. Like there's the highly effeminate little boys and there's the middle-aged men. And the little boys grow up into be gay young men who also transition. So it's basically 2 reasons, yeah? And that's Blanchard's typology. And then there's the women who, until very recently, were a handful of butch lesbians, and now it's the ROGD girls. But what I didn't know was there were ROGD boys in quite large numbers. And they are a new phenomenon, and they're driven by the internet. They're driven by games, by porn, very much by porn, and by just the body dissociation thing. And they may be gay or straight. It's not about sexuality. It's about dissociation. Amazingly, it's about not wanting to be a cis white straight male because that's the lowest possible thing you can be. I would have made more about the religious
you fucking idiot.
Of all of this. This isn't me bashing at religion. Religion can be beautiful or it can be terrible. It can be Aztec sacrifice.
But presumably the religion part of it is more focused towards America. I mean, they are much more.
No, it is in itself. No? It is a very religious thing that you're doing. You're being reborn. You're sloughing off your past self, who's a cis white straight male or whatever. You're getting a new name. It's very baptismal transitioning. And then thinking about forgiveness or not forgiveness, like it's a religion that does not forgive at all. Like the way apostates, namely detransitioners, are treated is disgusting.
I know detransitioners personally. They're cool people.
There's child sacrifice.
There are a bunch of fucking losers online who happen to be
It's not normal to scarify your body like that. It's not
normal to cut your
breasts off, like to put
the fucking great.
And the world into your breasts.
It was a few months ago.
Again, I mean, horrible religion, So I would have made more about that. And the more I see it, the more it disturbs me. Yeah. So it is a disgusting neo-religion.
I hadn't really considered it that way, but you're right.
So there's a woman called Colette Colfer who wrote a short and very good article for the Irish Times about gender ideology as a religion. It was commissioned by them. She writes about religion for them. And they didn't publish it. Like it went to press. She went to bed one night thinking.
I mean, I'm doing this and I'm thinking, yeah, of course they didn't publish it.
Yeah.
I mean,
so she has published it in a small online it's reasonable in Ireland called broadsheet.ie, so you can read it, and it's so measured.
We'll put a link. Let's put a link to it.
Yeah, so Colette Colfer in broadsheet.ie, and like it's 800 words or something. It's just her saying, as somebody who's a scholar of religion, the way that this is a new religion, and the Irish Times chickened out.
Oh, that's disappointing, isn't it? But again,
unsurprising.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
But now that Ricky is taking the bull by the horns, although you know,
the Irish Times will be 10 years after everybody else.
Well,
Seriously.
that's, I suppose. But Ricky Gervais, I mean, I was thinking, you know, the secret of good comedy is timing, and he's timed it well, isn't he?
He has. Poor
He's
old
waited.
Graham.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, poor old Gray was way too early. But Ricky's waited and waited and waited and waited. Waited until, you know, people understand all the terms, they've seen what's going on. But he's like the first. Well, him and Bill Maher. I mean, there was obviously a bit of a competition. Dave Chappelle, you know, it's all happening now. People are, I think, you know, he's sort of crested the wave.
Yeah.
Like, there's bound to be people coming after him now.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah,
you know,
anyone can say what they
it's
like
done now. They can say what they like. Yes.
Yeah. To saying what you like, Helen.
Yes, to saying what you like. Helen, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, well, that's the end of that, because their voice was
I'm
fucking
done.
was
I'm
great,
going to.
grating on me.
I'm genuinely pissed off today. Like, this is the first time I've gotten that. I think it's noticeable when I'm actually angry. I think it's even noticeable in like tweets. The few times that twice I've gotten angry. Twice I've gotten angry on Twitter. And now I've gotten angry once here, and like, yeah, I did. No, I'm not that funny, Max, when I'm angry. I am the I want to ruin your fucking life person. Then I hate this feeling. I am going to need to do something next week. I'm going to have to read something.
Yeah, well, next week we're going to be covering Artie Morty. See what he has got to say. Like, I'm just gonna like go on his YouTube, look for videos that, and I'll probably earmark that. But the one thing I wanted to say was that, and they brought up her name, Hilary Cass. She's a doctor. She wrote a report called the Cass Report. All about gender. It's total bullshit, but I have downloaded the report. I've also downloaded the interim report that she did in 2022. I will send you. I will email you both PDFs. But, and I did a tweet about it on the podcast account and my account, saying that we will share our thoughts about it at some point.
Absolutely.
The interim report is 112 pages. The final report is 388, so about 412 pages altogether.
A few weeks I'll get through that. I'm not going to like fucking stretch my brain from.
No.
Like, in a few weeks I can get through that. Because I started writing something right now and it's not done now, so I can't like do it now, but it's important, and I'll need to do that like next time at some point.
Yeah, it's gonna be like you. I'm not gonna rush through it. I'm gonna take a few weeks, probably a bit more to read through the whole thing. But yeah, I think it's their voices was just grating on me. Like I just had to like skip ahead, like probably 20 minutes or so, because it's like listening to two old aunties that you never meet, that you never visit, and then you
Hearing
do,
her
and then
get
you
sad
think,
hearing her get sad when she gets called dangerous, because while she's like actively like marketing a fucking genocide as helpful. Yeah, I'm sorry. These people make the world worse in every conceivable way.
Oh yeah, they
Fucking
absolutely
hell.
do. Absolutely do. If those of you who watch this, the video version will be going up on the podcast straight away. The YouTube version won't be going up until tomorrow night because it's going to take a while for it to export. Because
YouTube is fucking shit sometimes as well. Like it's uploading shit. Sometimes it will just stop. At least when I used to upload shit.
Yeah, it happened to me once, and I've had to re-upload it again. But the YouTube video will go up at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. But obviously the podcast version will go up straight away. I will include links to the videos that we watched. So if you want to, waste an hour of your life, you can go and watch it in full. Because we did skip, excuse me, the majority of it. Because if you watch the video, you'll see mine and Max's demeanor.
Yeah, you will. I'm genuinely fucking hungry.
I was half falling, like getting tired, mainly because of their voices. But yeah, that'll be it. Next week, Arthur Morty, and then after that, there will be no more fucking reacting to turfs unless they say something fucking stupid and is relevant to what we cover. Then we'll cover it again. But after that, we will be back to our normal episodes. So yeah, we may have guests come on, which I'm still
cool.
in the process of doing. We'll try and get Heather Patterson back on. We may have Sophie. We may have
like punks and junkies.
Yeah. We may have Sophie Sparkles back on in the near future, depending on how her situation is going.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Great.
But yeah, apart from that, I hope you have a good weekend to all of you. Stay safe. And yeah, above all, don't take any crap from anyone.
No.
Obviously, make sure you're
unless
safe.
It's from me.
Yeah. If you have crap from Max, it's either because you probably deserve it, or you're just genuinely being an arse. But yeah.
Like, I think I tend to just go after the people. And that was a fun fucking weird one. We ended up talking to like the other day. That person who was like doing the AGP thing. That is still one of the most fascinating fucking Twitter conversations I've ever had, I think. Because it ended up so weirdly fucking pleasant.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but anyway, I just it popped into my head.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, yeah.
And I still don't know what type of person that is. Could be a piece of shit, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, when people, act like a cunt online, and they get what they get, So
but she seems to roll with the punches better than most as well. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Like me, if I quote tweet you, I understand that you might not be like on your most like I'm willing to listen because I don't go in there with like there's nothing open about the discussion I do, and that's intentional. But like I get why people might be, but she wasn't. She was actually she was willing to throw, but she seemed to have fun, and that was like I have a that's what I do. So
yeah, that
I still think that's a fucking transphobic bullshit to pull AGP shit, but you know
yeah, that
I was glad at that.
that Jewess,
Yeah.
she is a bit, and I'm saying this as politely, in a polite way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this to demean her, but she is
Yeah.
a bit off her rocker when it comes to her views.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
I can roll with that. She seems to be like
yeah,
she seems to be genuinely fucking interesting at least.
yeah,
Like,
she's
holy sh-
interesting.
holy sh- because it was like so fucking unexpected shit.
Yeah,
And I have no idea who she is, but yeah, you know,
no, I mean,
was just pleasantly surprised.
yeah, I mean, she talks a lot of shit, but you know,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least it
but like,
makes it interesting. Yeah,
yeah, like I don't expect people to like use the term autogynephilia, and also like in general seems to have kind of cool ideas about trans people, which she did when like other shit was talked about. Like that's not a mix that I find often, and that fascinated the fuck out of me. That's the most interesting transphobia I've interacted with in a while.
yeah. Oh yeah, I've interacted with her quite a few times now,
Yeah.
and every time I have, I've tried. Obviously
Huh?
corrected her
Yeah.
quite a few times. So, but
Yeah, you did that more than me.
yeah, but I mean, I remember when she did a live spaces. She was holding conversations around trans and whatever, and
Yeah,
another trans
I probably
woman,
went to shit.
Frida Wallace, was in, and
Yeah.
Jess said something ridiculously stupid and false, and
Yeah.
another woman from Scotland was saying turfy rhetoric, and Frida chimed in and she told Jess a new arsehole and completely corrected her, and
Yeah, that's cool.
Jess was still repeating the same thing. So
Yeah,
and
probably
again,
like
and yeah,
transphobia is fucking brain broken. I do
yeah,
like that
and I'm
she
not,
like I called her a muppet and she just went and took it as a compliment and just decided to do that, and I kind of respect that because like, oh, I like the Muppets at least. Well, yeah, fuck it, you won that one. Like she actually
yeah,
did. I
yeah,
yeah, she won over me with that line.
yeah,
Other parts
and
I won over her with.
yeah. I mean, listen, like I said to her, I don't agree with everything you say, right? That's
Yeah.
not the reason why I'll follow you, right? But at least she's the first, like you, she is the first transphobe I've come across where, weirdly, she actually, owns her
Mhm.
transphobia.
Yeah,
She
that's
actually owns
perfect.
it, which says a lot more, which tells me that, okay, at least you own it. At least
Yeah.
at least at least people know where you stand. I can
I,
handle that. Like, absolutely, like,
I can roll with it.
totally. Yeah.
And like,
It's when
we had it, like,
it's when turfs don't own it. It's like, come on.
yeah.
We both know you're
And
transphobe.
and like fucking, I always respect, like, no matter what kind of shithead it is, because if they're open, like, I can talk to them on those grounds, or I can ignore
Yeah.
the shit out of them.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
no, I don't tend to want to. I don't tend to want to talk to people who want to fucking want me to not exist. But like, yeah, if they're funny enough.
Yeah.
If, humor is more important to me than like anything.
Yeah, well, that's because
Holy fucking shit! Oh, thank God. I'm sorry, I kicked my tripod like that, like just kicked it down, and I just hoped I had to check that my camera wasn't attached to it, which thankfully wasn't. It's just standing there as well. Now it's laying there. But like, I just kicked it. I had no reason to do so. What the fuck is wrong with me? I wasn't even. It's good there's a weekend coming up.
yeah, yeah, that's yeah, it's like, yeah, because humor wins. If you can use humor, then that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
At some point, I'm going to talk about the time I did stand up, and everyone is going to hate me. I just popped up. I told my boyfriend about it, and then I told him like 30 seconds of the set, and he just looked at me and said, "You can never finish that set to me," because it was like it intentionally made to. The joke was that I hate standing in front of, and talking in front of people. I had huge stage fright. So the joke was I was making the audience feel my pain, and it was really fucking effective. That was 5 minutes of their lives that they're never getting back.
yep,
Of course, I did some
yeah,
fucking weird art project about it. I'm so fucking pretentious.
yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of works. I mean,
I got one
I've seen
laughter.
that. Yeah, I've seen that work many times for comedians where they're literally battling stage fright or anxiety, and then they use the audience's fear, I guess,
Yeah,
against them. So
yeah,
yeah,
like
it can work.
and like Andy Kaufman is one of my inspirations. People can't expect me to not pull that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like, sometimes the joke is that you're the only one getting the joke.
yeah, sometimes even if you're the only one who finds the joke funny, like that's okay.
Yeah, as
You
long
know,
as you laugh.
yeah, and
The joke does have a point at some points.
yeah, exactly, and I hope that when you watch this, you are in a good mood, because or you can keep it, because these two will certainly drain the enjoyment out of you just by listening to them.
Yeah, I started in a pissy mood. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
But I've calmed down now. Now I'm in a good mood again. It was good that we had this chat at the end. I think otherwise I would have left
Yeah.
this angry, and that would have been nice.
Yeah. But next week, with Artimoti,
Yeah,
we we might not be like we were tonight. We might be more upbeat, because
I
he
definitely.
just talks a lot of shit. So it'll be more interesting to see what he's got to say. But
Yeah, like Helen Joyce
um,
is one of the few people that I actually hate her. Like I
oh
can't
yeah, she's
like
got.
be. Yeah, I can't.
Well, yeah,
She's vile in a way that a lot of them aren't. Like Glinda brings out my mean girl. She brings out my fucking abusive cunt.
yeah, because you know, um, this is a joke. This is a joke, by the way. I'm just clarifying. But
Yeah,
she's got one of those faces that you can just punch.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, not that I'm condoning violence. You know, I'm just gonna put that out there. But she has one of those faces that you just want to either punch or
From from a
just do
from a
just do
strict
something.
legal stand. Yeah, I would have fucking ended my life if I ever accidentally touched her. So I'm not going to touch her willingly.
Yeah,
I'm just going to like final words on that thing. Like from a strict legal standpoint, I can't say the fact that anyone should go out and punch her. Those are
no,
my final words.
yeah, yeah. I'll come. Yeah. That will be my final word as well. If
Yeah.
you choose to, then that's on your own. Then that's your own choice, and no
Yeah.
one's to blame
Speaking
but
of,
yourself. If you choose to harm anyone, because we
yeah.
will not be held because we will not be held
Oh,
responsible for your actions. So I'm just putting that out there.
I can barely be held
But,
responsible for my own
but
fucking actions.
yeah, oh yeah, I could. Oh yeah, trust me. Like I'm the last person you want to take fucking advice from regarding that. But anyway,
I'm really good at advising like 3 areas.
yeah, um, that'll be the end of that because I'm half dead. Um, my whole energy just completely fucking zapped
Yeah, I
out
get
of
that.
me during that flipping conversation. Not our
Yeah.
conversation, but those two. Because
Oh
they
yeah,
sound like an
I
old
was.
fucking
Yeah, fucking hell.
yeah, they sound like a fucking old auntie that you never visit, and then you finally doing is like the biggest mistake of your life, and you want to try and you're trying to escape, but you can't. That's what it would be like if I was in the same room with them with those two. I'd want to
Yeah,
fucking escape or find a nuke button.
that would be an interesting escape room.
Oh, yeah, it'll just be me with a meat cleaver going after them again. Another joke. But yeah, I guess we'll end on that note.
Yeah, yeah. Please, let's do. That's the perfect one.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Right. So again, have a great weekend, and above all,
Bye.
stay safe. Bye, guys.